Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. It is Dr. T, and it's a new year. It's the first day of 2021. So if you're watching this, you made it through the rough year of 2020. Give yourself a pat on the back just for that, because there were many challenges for us during 2020 for most of us. One of the challenges, interestingly enough, based on some of the stats, is that there was some increases in the number of people who were filing for separation and divorce during the 2020 pandemic. Now, there are a variety of reasons why that increase may have followed the pandemic, and we won't necessarily get into those, but I did want to offer some resources and support and guidance for those of you who this may be a challenge for you, either as you were going through 2020 or even now moving into 2021. Maybe you yourself, maybe a family member is considering or going through divorce. So I want to offer some quick tips for you, just 3 quick tips for getting through what really can be a very difficult, definitely a life-changing event for most people. Let me put a disclaimer here that, the things that I'll be talking about do not necessarily apply to relationships where there was physical or sexual violence that was occurring, as those types of relationships require sometimes a little bit of a different approach. All right, so we're talking about non-abusive relationships that you and your partner have decided that, irreconcilable differences, or at least one of you maybe has decided that that is the case. So a few quick tips for those of you who may be going through that situation or know someone who is. The first tip is don't go it alone. There can be things like embarrassment that can keep us from talking about divorce with other people. We may not want our families to know, we may not want our friends to know, we may feel like a failure. Listen, part of your process may be dismissing all of those irrationalities, okay? Because again, this is a major life event. You don't want to go through this by yourself. There are lots of resources out there. Ask for help. You're going to need a squad to get through this. So take advantage of, first identify those people who are part of your squad, take advantage of that support system, and use as many of the resources out there as you need to. All right, so that's number 1. Don't go it alone, okay? Number 2, you want to make sure that you're preparing thoroughly for the future. And this can include a variety of things. Definitely financially, you want to take some considerations. How much money will you need to set aside? What challenges is it going to bring for you now that you will no longer be a 2-person income household? How can you cut back on expenses to prepare for the future? What are all of the financial resources that you have that you can take advantage of? Going back to number 1, are there people in your life who would be willing to support you financially to help you through rough spots? There are all types of unexpected expenses. Filing for divorce costs money. Separating assets means you will lose your asset base if you have those. If you use the services of a lawyer, that requires money. Moving requires money, all sorts of things, right? Lots of unexpected expenses. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about everything. And you may say, I've never done this before. I don't know what the possibilities are. Walk through it. Think through it. What are all of the things that you typically would give money to? What are the things that now will be split? right? So household bills, moving to a new place, setting up a new electric provider, new internet. What's your credit score like? Will you be able to get credit if you need it? Buying new furniture. If you have to move to a new district with your kids, what sort of expenses might that bring? Just sit and think through and walk through all of the possible financial impacts that you might experience. The other way that you want to prepare is to think about the co-parenting changes and needs that you're going to have as you make your way through divorce. So in most states, right, you'll have to, if you have children that were a part of the marriage, you'll have to think about custody, custodianship, right? Who's going to be responsible for taking care of the child? Who's the child going to live with? Who's going to cover the child's expenses? Things like child support. But a lot of times we get caught up, right, in the financial piece. Who's he going to live with? Who's she going to live with? And we forget other aspects of just the need for you and this future ex-spouse to actually work well together. So when I talk about preparing thoroughly, how can you put your feelings, your hang-ups aside and think about what's going to be most effective for the future? Okay, we've decided that this relationship isn't going to work. At some point, we've got to close that part of the chapter and focus on these future chapters that we are writing. What are some things that we need to do to get along? Who can help us to do that? Is there someone who can help to mediate some of these conversations that we need to have so that we can effectively co-parent, right, and move forward with not just our relationship as co-parents, but also the relationship with our child. So preparing thoroughly for the future is number 2, but this also leads into number 3, which is don't forget about your kids. Not just as far as co-parenting plans are concerned. A lot of times as adults, we can get caught up in our own feelings, our own emotions, our own frustrations, our own anger, and we forget that our children have emotions too. So it's your responsibility as a parent to help your child process their emotions during this process. It includes a lot of things like refraining from talking bad about the other parent, right? That's still their dad, that's still their mother. So regardless of the feelings that you have about them as a spouse, you don't want to damage that reputation in front of your child. The important thing to keep in mind is that as you are trying to tear down the reputation of that parent with the child, your reputation in the eyes of your child is really what's being worn down. So just keep that peace in mind. So as you are dealing with your own emotions, remember that your kids have feelings too. They are processing these things emotionally. Consider their feelings, include them in on some of these decisions if possible, things that are developmentally appropriate, of course. So if they're old enough, ask them, well, what school would you like to go to? Which parent would you like to live with? Again, at a certain age. As you are shifting the structure at home or in the different homes, ask for their input about how things could work, should work. How often would they like to see the other parent? What are the needs that they have from each of you? Don't leave the kids out. Again, you want to offer them things that are developmentally appropriate. You don't want to put responsibilities on them that aren't theirs. But you do want to include them in certain parts of the decision-making process in a way that is developmentally appropriate for them. All right, so those are my 3 quick tips. If you are considering or going through divorce, you know someone who is, number one, don't go it alone. Get your squad around you. Get rid of that sense of failure and embarrassment and reach out to the people and the resources that are going to help you get through it. Number two, prepare thoroughly for the future. That includes financially, as well as from a co-parenting perspective, and as it relates to other decisions that you need to make to move forward. That also includes, you know, making arrangements for a therapist to help you process and heal from the relationship once you have finalized your divorce, or even before you finalize it, right? So there are many things that can be a part of preparing thoroughly for the future. Number three is don't forget your kids. They also are going through this process. They are experiencing a loss. Help them grieve, help them to process, and include them on some of the decisions that are being made in ways that are developmentally appropriate. Those are my 3 quick tips for the new year. If you need additional assistance with this process, or you know someone who needs additional assistance with this process, I've got a new ebook that is available online called Divorce and Thrive: Creating Your New Life After Divorce, a Roadmap for Rebuilding. I'm going to include the link at the end of this video and in the comments. So it is essentially will help you create a roadmap for rebuilding your life. Share it with a friend, buy it for yourself to help you get through and heal from this significant life-changing event that we know of as divorce. Also, if this video was helpful for you, like the video below, subscribe as well to my channel, and let me know what other topics would be useful for you, or if you want more info on this particular topic, let me know. You can also, I'll include that info, you can also schedule a divorce coaching session with me if you want more tips related to what's in the ebook, or if you just need additional support and help. I'm definitely willing to help those who need ongoing support. So again, there are many resources out there. Make sure you take advantage. Divorce is tough, and it is the end of one chapter, but it doesn't have to be the end to the book. You can thrive after divorce. All right, so hang in there. Happy New Year to you, and I look forward to seeing you again on future videos. Until next time, make it a